Okay, this is Mr. Kamal with policeabuse.com.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm a police expert. I'm a retired detective, and what I'm going to do is ask you a few questions, listen to your complaint, and then I'll be making some recommendations later.
Awesome.
Okay, so why don't you start by telling me the name of the police department, and then just tell me what happened, and I'll be glad to assist you.
Okay, it's the Austin Police Department in Texas.
Okay. And when did the incident take place that you're referring to?
Yesterday.
Okay. All right. Tell me what happened.
Well, I came into work. I work at Hyatt Place, and so two detectives came in. No big deal. There's always, like we've been in the middle of FBI stings, and we help with all that kind of stuff. So didn't really think anything about it. And one of the guys said, "Hey, the detectives want to talk to you," and pointed to me and another guy that was about to get off work, and we're like, okay. So he went in first and then came back out, and then they brought me in there and said, "We have this very disturbing email, it's incredibly disturbing. We're going to show it to you, and we're going to see, we know it came from somebody here, and we're just trying to figure out who." And I said, okay. So they slid it over to me, and first of all, it's not that disturbing. I was waiting on a murder scene or something, and I'm like, okay. And I read it, and they said basically that the only reason that they were there investigating was because this woman was the police chief's friend. Otherwise, they said it would have ended up in a stack of stuff and never would even got investigated. But this, this came down from the police chief. It didn't work its way up. It worked its way down because this woman is friends with him. So that's the reason we're here investigating. I was like, okay. They're like, do you know who she is? And I said, well, basically, this woman was a guest who stayed at our hotel. And I was not there when she stayed there. I was not there when she checked out. I've never seen her. I've never met her. I don't know her. But she left this horrible comment card, on how horrible the hotel was, and she'd never stay there again, and she hated Hyatt Places. So we were all laughing at the fact that one of the ladies in the back figured out that this woman is a motivational speaker. And it says on her website, they all said, "Oh, go look at her website, it's hysterical." Because you go and look, and it's like, I'm here to encourage and be positive, which she did the exact opposite. She basically just tore us down and said how horrible we were.
Right.
So we were basically just laughing about it. So we all looked at it. We all read different comments. The assistant manager printed off where people had written comments on how wonderful she was. He printed it off and, wrote below it and stuck it in the back room. We were all just kind of laughing, about... Basically, it's hotel humor. You survive people yelling at you by basically just making fun of them when they're gone. So,
Gotcha. And just let me just add one point. I was a police officer, so I completely understand what you're saying. And there's nothing wrong with relieving a little stress when you've got to be smiling and being polite when people are sometimes abusive. So I completely appreciate the context of what you're telling me.
Yes, I knew you would. I'm friends with, a couple of police officers, and so, we laugh about whatever. People come in, and they're just hateful, and they scream at you, and you just have to smile, because half the time it's not even your fault. 99% of the time it's not even your fault,
Right.
But you have to take it, it's just part of it. And I've been in customer service since I was 12 years old. This is nothing new. It doesn't bother me. So, they fly me over this thing that came from a Gmail account of some sort. And it says on there, basically something along the lines of calling the lady a nigger and saying she stayed in worse places and don't ever come back to this town again. Or you might as well not come back to this town, or something along those lines. And so I'm looking at them, and they're like, "We know either you did it or someone close to you, someone you know." And I was like, okay, well, I didn't do it, and I don't know who did it, so I don't know how further I can help you, So they just kept on, so they're like, well, we're going to give you our card because we have a feeling, we're going to wait a week to, actually start a subpoena because, if we can just get this resolved, I've seen that Law and Order, I know how they do it. If we can just get this resolved prior to, that's funny, Law and Order. If we can just get this resolved prior to, then it will be, you won't have to get a subpoena. And she said she'll drop all charges. I thought, bullshit. Of course. Me just looking at them because I'm like, well, I didn't do it, so whoever did it's in trouble. I don't know what to say except for, you mess with the police chief's friend, so you shouldn't do that. I don't know what to tell you. There clearly wasn't anything really threatening in there. Okay. So I'm about to leave, and I tell my boss, I'm out of here, tell the police, tell the detectives if I find anything, and call me. And so she says, well, actually, they just called her on the way back, and they want to talk to you again. And I'm like, ugh. Well, my husband's standing in the rain. He just got out of an interview. I've got to go pick him up first. She's like, okay. Well, I get to him. Unfortunately, he's been in enough trouble. He knows the law really well, and said, you know, they're already pointing the finger at you. They're already saying that either you did it or someone you know did it. You know, he said, you don't have to go back and talk to them. They don't have any charges pending. They don't have any evidence. You do not have to go back and talk to them. You have a right to say, no, you know, I'm not talking to you again. But he's like, clearly it's upsetting you, you know, because I've got in trouble for a speeding ticket, and that's the max in my life. You know, I'm 31 years old. It's like, I've been on the PTO board and, you know, have 4 kids. This is not something you know.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, I really just didn't even, you know, think about anything else. So so I call my boss back, and she says basically, well, verbatim, if I do not come back, she'll have to suspend me. If I do not come back and talk to the detective, she'll have to suspend me according to Hyatt policy. So I'm like, okay, so I can't just get an attorney or I'm going to get suspended and I have to go back and talk to these people. Okay, I have nothing to hide. And of course, my husband at that point is like, they're going to suspend you anyway, don't go back. And I was like, well, I didn't do anything, so I don't mind talking to these people. I have nothing to hide. So I go back, and they, you know, chat for a while and get all chatty with me. And then they're basically like, well, we know you did it. We have evidence to prove it. I'm like, okay, you know, whatever you have is clearly not evidence because I didn't do it. So, you know, what is it you think you have? So I across this piece of paper.
Excuse me, I don't mean to laugh, but one of the things I want to tell you in talking to you, you sound very confident, you sound very articulate, and it sounds like they went after you because of that.
Yes, oh yes, for sure. For sure. I mean, and this is what I told them. I mean, you know, at one point I actually looked at them and said, I would like you to know I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years. I have, you know, 4 children. I was AP in all my classes. All my college classes I've gotten A's in. I do not, you know, by any means would I refer to anybody by the N word because I hate when people say Indian giving. I'm part Indian. I don't believe in that. I would never do that. If I was going to slander this woman, it would be more along the lines of, you know, way to be a motivational speaker and then talk crap to us. You know, maybe you should try, you know, double standard. That would be more along the lines of something I would have said to her. So it's completely out of character for me.
Gotcha.
A, B. But this is what I told him. I said, B, what's my motive? I was like, I've never met her. She's not jeopardizing my job. And so basically the detectives, you know, showed me this piece of paper showing my online activities that day at work. And it shows 2 different things. So I'm looking at Craigslist, looking for part-time jobs in the evening because my husband's, you know, been out of work. So I've been looking for, you know, just some part-time jobs to tie me over, some gig jobs, you know, come bartend here, come do whatever. And then, you know, and then it had where I visited her website. They're like, you visited her website. I was like, yeah, we all did. I was like, what do you want me to say? First of all, I want to say, did I know this woman? Have I ever seen her? Then I was just making fun of her whole entire speech online. You know, like, oh, wow, talk about contradictory. And so, you know, I looked at that, and then I clicked over to my Gmail. Well, I guess I happened to click on my Gmail about the same time the thing was sent. So clearly it's my fault, right? Because of, you know.
So wait. So they're saying that by their judgment, the time that you accessed your Gmail account must be the time that this infamous email was sent to her.
Yes. They're saying it was the same, you know, within a couple minutes of each other that she got this email posted to her. It was a couple minutes from when and this is their evidence against me. And I happened to be on my Gmail at the same time. You know, who was I talking to? Who was I, you know, sending a Gmail to? And I'm like, I don't know. I was looking at bartending positions right before that, so it could have been that.
Well, let me ask you this: couldn't they just say to you, let us see your outgoing emails, and is there an outgoing email to this woman?
I offered. I gave them everything, including my password. I was like, here are my Gmail accounts, here's my password, go tell me what you can find. And they were saying, well, we can find out what IP addresses came from. I said, good, please do.
Well, why didn't they do that?
I don't know. The officer actually had the nerve to say to me, you know, well, we realized, you know, we had no other way to get a hold of you besides coming to your work. And I'm sorry that that's resulting in a suspension for you because basically at this point I'm being investigated. So Hyatt has suspended me from work based on, and they're saying they had no other way to get a hold of me. Then they read off my address and my phone number to me not much later. So I'm like, okay. So you're here to tell me, and as far as I know, I think Hyatt should be wrong because they didn't come up there with a warrant, they didn't come up there with crap. My boss just